So let's begin with the most basic question: what a mutual fund actually is. A mutual fund is a way for many people to invest together. Instead of one person buying one stock, thousands of investors pool their money into one fund. That fund then uses the combined money to buy many investments at once: stocks, bonds, or a mix of both. Think of it like this: imagine a large basket. Inside that basket are hundreds, sometimes thousands of companies. When you buy into a mutual fund, you're not picking one company. You're buying a small slice of the entire basket. You don't own the fund itself, you own a share of what the fund owns. That distinction matters because your results don't depend on one company doing well. They depend on how the whole group performs over time. And that's the core idea behind mutual funds. They turn investing from a single bet into shared ownership across many investments. Now that you know what a mutual fund is, the next question naturally comes up: why do these funds exist in the first place? Mutual funds exist because investing, done properly, takes time. Time to research companies, time to understand markets, and time to monitor risk. Most people don't have that time. And even if they did, managing dozens of investments on your own is hard. Mutual funds were created to solve that problem. They let investors pool their money, so the work of diversification and management is handled in one place. Instead of tracking many companies, you own one fund. Instead of making constant decisions, the structure does the work for you. This isn't about being lazy, it's about being realistic. Mutual funds are designed for people who want to invest consistently without turning it into a second job. They simplify the process, reduce complexity, and make long-term investing accessible. But to understand why this simplification matters, we need to talk about one idea that sits at the center of investing: diversification. Diversification is a way to reduce risk. It doesn't mean avoiding risk. It means not depending on one outcome. If all your money is in one company, one bad decision can hurt you badly. But when your money is spread across many companies, no single mistake can sink everything. Think of it like this: relying on one company is like standing on one leg. You can do it. But if you lose balance, you fall. Diversification is standing on both feet. You're more stable. A mutual fund can hold hundreds, sometimes thousands of different companies. If one company struggles, its impact is small. If another does well, it helps balance things out. This doesn't mean mutual funds can't lose value. They can. Markets go up, markets go down. But diversification smooths the ride over time. And that's why mutual funds are built this way, to make investing less fragile and more resilient. Now that we understand diversification, let's look at how mutual funds actually work behind the scenes. Even though mutual funds feel simple on the surface, there's a clear structure underneath. Every mutual fund has a value. That value is called the net asset value, or NAV. The NAV represents what all the investments inside the fund are worth divided by the number of shares investors own. Unlike stocks, mutual funds do not trade all day. Their price updates once at the end of the trading day. When you buy a mutual fund, you don't see an instant price change. Your order goes through after the market closes using that day's NAV. The same thing happens when you sell. This design is intentional. It discourages constant trading and encourages long-term thinking. Mutual funds can also pay you income. If the companies inside the fund pay dividends, those earnings can be passed on to investors, sometimes as cash, sometimes reinvested automatically. Your investment can grow in two ways: through the fund's value increasing, and through income it distributes. But not all mutual funds are built the same way. And that's where most confusion starts. Not all mutual funds invest in the same things. They are grouped by what they hold and by what they're designed to do. The first broad group is stock mutual funds. These invest in companies. Some focus on large, established businesses. For example, Vanguard 500 Index Fund Admiral Shares, or Fidelity 500 Index Fund. These are mutual funds designed to follow large U.S. companies. Others focus on smaller, faster-growing companies. Examples include Vanguard Small Cap Index Fund, Admiral Shares, or Fidelity Small Cap Growth Fund. These are mutual funds that invest in smaller companies. Some stock mutual funds aim for steady, long-term growth. A fund like Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund, Admiral Shares invests across the entire U.S. stock market. Others take more risk for higher potential returns. Funds such as Fidelity Growth Company Fund focus on companies expected to grow faster than average. The second group is bond funds. These invest in loans, governments, and companies. Bond funds are generally more stable, but they usually grow more slowly. Examples include Vanguard Total Bond Market, Index Fund, Admiral Shares. This fund invests in a broad mix of government and investment-grade corporate bonds. Another example is Fidelity U.S. Bond Index Fund. It also focuses on high-quality bonds designed to provide stability and income. There are also bond funds that focus on specific areas. For example, Vanguard Short-Term Bond Index Fund, Admiral Shares invest in shorter-term bonds, which tend to fluctuate less. The third group is balanced funds. These mix stocks and bonds in one fund. The goal is balance, growth with some stability. Examples include Vanguard Balanced Index Fund, Admiral Shares. This fund holds a mix of US stocks and bonds in a single portfolio. Another example is Fidelity Balanced Fund. It combines stocks and bonds to smooth out market swings over time. Then there are index mutual funds. These don't try to beat the market. They aim to follow it. For example, Vanguard 500 Index Fund Admiral Shares tracks the S&P 500, which represents large US companies. Another example is Fidelity Total Market Index Fund. This fund follows a broader US stock market, not just one segment. Finally, there are specialty funds. These focus on a specific sector: technology, healthcare, energy, or a specific country or region. For technology, an example is Fidelity Select Technology Portfolio. This mutual fund focuses on technology-related companies. For healthcare, Vanguard Healthcare Fund invests in companies across the healthcare industry. For energy, Vanguard Energy Fund focuses on companies involved in energy production and services. Some specialty funds focus on specific regions or countries. For example, Vanguard Emerging Markets Stock Index Fund Admiral Shares invest in companies from developing economies around the world. Another example is Fidelity International Index Fund, which focuses on companies outside the United States. Here's a table that puts everything into a clear view. You can download it from the link below. Here's an important point. These labels describe strategy, not how the fund is built. And this distinction leads to the biggest source of confusion in investing: the difference between mutual funds and ETFs. Mutual funds and ETFs are often talked about as opposites, but in reality, they are more alike than most people think. Both can hold hundreds of investments, both can track the same index, both can be low cost, and both can be used for long-term investing. The difference is in how they work. Mutual funds are priced once per day, and you buy or sell at the end of day value. ETFs trade like stocks. Their prices move throughout the day. This affects behavior. Mutual funds are designed for steady investing, automatic contributions, and less temptation to trade. ETFs offer flexibility. You can buy and sell at any time the market is open. Taxes are another difference. In taxable accounts, ETFs are often more tax efficient. Mutual funds can distribute capital gains, which may create a tax bill. But inside retirement accounts like a Roth or traditional retirement plan, this difference usually disappears. Costs matter too. Some mutual funds are expensive, others are very low cost. The same is true for ETFs. So the real question is not which one is better. It's which one fits your situation, your account type, and your behavior. Once that's clear, the next concern people usually have is cost. Every mutual fund has a cost. That cost is called the expense ratio. The expense ratio is the percentage taken each year to run the fund. It covers management, administration, and record keeping. You don't see this fee deducted from your account. It's taken out quietly, a little at a time. That's why it's easy to overlook. A small difference in fees can matter a lot over time. A fund charging 1% per year will cost much more long-term than a fund charging a fraction of that. This is especially important for long-term investing. Lower costs mean more of your money stays invested, and they usually charge higher fees. Now, an important clarification. Paying a fee does not guarantee better results. Many actively managed funds, even with professional managers, fail to beat simple market indexes after fees. That's not an opinion. It's a long-term pattern. This doesn't mean all active funds are bad. It means cost matters. Some of the most well-known actively managed mutual funds include Fidelity Contra Fund. This fund is actively managed and focuses on large U.S. companies the manager believes can grow faster than average. American Funds Growth Fund of America. This fund uses multiple managers and invests in a broad mix of growth companies. T. Rowe Price Blue Chip Growth Fund. This fund focuses on established, well-known companies with strong growth potential. These funds rely on professional managers to make investment decisions, and they usually charge higher fees. Index mutual funds, by contrast, are built to follow the market, not beat it. Some of the most common index mutual funds include Vanguard 500 Index Fund Admiral Shares. This fund tracks the S&P 500, which represents large U.S. companies. Fidelity Total Market Index Fund. This fund follows the entire U.S. stock market. across large, mid, and small companies. Schwab Total Stock Market Index Fund. This fund also tracks the broad US market with a very low expense ratio. These funds don't depend on manager decisions, they focus on broad exposure and keeping costs low, and this naturally leads to the next concern people have. Taxes. Taxes are one of the most misunderstood parts of investing, and the confusion usually comes from mixing up accounts. Where you hold a mutual fund matters just as much as what fund you choose. In a taxable account, such as a regular brokerage account, a joint investment account, or a trust account, you may owe taxes on dividends and capital gains distributions, even if you didn't sell anything. That's why turnover, how often a fund buys and sells, can matter in taxable accounts. But in retirement accounts like a 401k, a traditional IRA, and a Roth IRA, this changes completely. Inside these accounts, taxes are deferred or eliminated, which means turnover usually doesn't matter at all. This is why mutual funds often work very well inside retirement accounts. Now, a quick global note. Tax rules vary by country a lot, but the principle stays the same. Some accounts are tax advantaged, some are not. Understanding that difference is more important than memorizing rules. Once you understand where mutual funds belong, there's still one practical question left. How to actually get started. Once you understand how mutual funds work, starting is simpler than it feels. The first decision is not which fund to buy. It's where to open your account. Most people invest through a brokerage platform. This is the place that lets you buy, hold, and manage funds. What matters most is not fancy features. It's access, low cost, and ease of use. This is where platforms like SoFi Invest, Interactive Brokers, or eToro often come up. They serve different needs. SoFi Invest is designed for simplicity. It works well for beginners who want investing, saving, and automation in one place. Interactive Brokers focuses on access and depth. It offers a wide range of global markets and investment options, which appeals to investors who want more flexibility or live outside the US. eToro sits somewhere in between. It's known for an easy-to-use interface and broad international availability, making it accessible for beginners in many countries. None of these platforms is universally best. They're tools. What matters is choosing one that matches your goals, your location, and how hands-on you want to be. We've linked examples like these in the description below so you can explore them at your own pace. And once you start, there's one emotional reality you need to be prepared for. At some point, every investor experiences losses. This is normal, and it's unavoidable. Markets move in cycles, up, down, and sideways. A mutual fund can lose value even if nothing is wrong. This is where many people panic. They see a drop. They assume they made a mistake, and they sell. That reaction often causes more damage than the loss itself. Volatility is not failure. It's the price of long-term growth. The goal of mutual funds is not to avoid short-term declines. It's to participate in long-term progress. This is why time matters more than timing. Understanding this doesn't eliminate fear, but it gives fear context. And once you have that context, you're ready for the practical step. Here's a mind map of the key takeaways along with a comparison table from this video. You can download it from the link below with a clear, easy to follow explanation.